Okay. If you have not already done so, please frame yourself here in the participant list so we have a clear picture of the room. If you have any questions about the presentation you will see later on, we will have the second part of the webinar as a dedicated part for asking questions to our experts in a breakout session. So there will be dedicated rooms and then a final half an hour open discussion. So I really encourage all of you to take an active part during this discussion. And of course, if you want, you can also write here in the chat your question. As I said before, this is the first This is the first operational activity of our replicator support program. So we are here on the webinar of the governance models for energy communities, and we will follow those other activities, but you already know this plan. The goals for today are get to know which are the most effective governance schemes for local and regional authorities to support the establishment of energy communities in the meaning of technical assistance offices or other similar names that are already established and are already run by public authorities, as we will see later on. And then one goal is also to share with you insights, but also recommendation or successful stories for what you are trying to achieve locally. Here, the agenda of the day, after a first quick introduction on which are those key components for an effective governance schemes. We will go through our three guest speakers that we will show how those things can be done at the regional, county, and the city level. So we have Antonio Caulart from Italy. Antonio is working with Area SPA, that is an in-house company for Lombardy region. They have a good experience to share on how a regional government is supporting their cities on this topic. And then we have our two demos today represented by Cristobal Vila and Heik Bull Peterson, and they will explain what they are doing at the county level in Avila, Spain, and at the city level in Copenhagen, in Denmark. Then we will go through this interactive activity. So we will split the room in three groups: regional, county, or city level, for like 15, 20 minutes, where replicators can really ask detailed questions about specific topics they would like to take on to get really insights and advice. And then we will be back for the last 25 30 minutes in this main room, just to have a discussion all together, an open discussion on which are those components, how we can really try to make it successful. And so, first of all, why governance? Public authorities, of course, are at the central point of are between, let's say, the policy and legal part and the implementation on the ground. So it means that they really need to connect several dots, and it means that there are several components that really need to work close together. So as we can see in this picture that was elaborated by the School of Political Science, a good governance model should be participatory, transparent, accountable, effective, and equitable as well. And the good governance schemes should promote the rule of law, should ensure political, social, and economical priorities, and should be based on a general consensus, both from the society, from the community, but also from the main stakeholders that are really in the ecosystem of the public authority, should it be local or regional one. There are several, so far we understood that there are several ingredients for effective governance schemes that are really allowing public authorities to move forward, in this case for the deployment of energy communities. And from our experience, we saw that the technical assistance offices, or there are also other names, but it means an office, a dedicated office, could be a solution, because it's the one that allow the public authority or the private company to put all those components together. And here you see only a simple list of the usual suspects. I think you are already aware of, but like governance models should include a very good, let's say, percentage of sharing software resources to do those kind of activities, should be really able to engage and really to outreach all stakeholders that are mapped for your goal. A good governance model should include also a strong capacity building process that should focus both internally, the administration, so capacity building for in-house experts, but also capacity building for external. Sometimes it can be also raising awareness, like awareness raising campaign to make more clearness on the topic and so on. A good governance model should allow the facilitation between local stakeholders, communities, private donors, and so on. Should provide support in financing projects, both in the forms of sharing guidance on how to access funding to communities, but also trying to establishing supporting mechanisms to deploy energy communities. And of course, a good governance model should take into account to use supporting platform tools and so on. Okay, I think that this could be already enough to understand which are those components. And now I would like really to give the floor to our speakers to really show how those components are really translated on the ground. So without any further ado, I would say I will leave the floor to Antonio, and you can showcase what you are doing in Milan and in the Lombardy region. Thank you, Antonio. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be with you and to try to learn as much as possible from your experiences. I will show you my experience. Hopefully, it will be of some use. And now my presentation, will try to share it. Let me know if you see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, very well.
Okay. Okay. First of all, yeah, I would like to make a very short point to explaining where we are. That's quite important, because probably most of you know the region Lombardia. But I would like to give some more details. Lombardy is the most populous region in Italy. It's a kind of state in the state. It is the third most populous region in Europe, and is divided in 11 provinces and one metropolitan area, Milan. And we have 1,523 municipalities. That's really a huge number. And most of them are very small municipalities with less than 5,000 inhabitants. And that's is very important to keep in mind, because that means that there is very much to do, because you have to deal with a big number of local authorities, and with very small local authorities without very often without a proper technical office or technical support. Few words on my company, Aria. As already said by Andrea, Aria is a company 100% owned by the region Lombardy, and we are more than 500 employees, so it's quite a big company. We are not Aria deals not only with energy, but with other important tasks that are very important for the regional authority, and specifically in the energy sector. So I want simply to stress that Aria is not only an energy agency, but it's something more. And concerning the energy sector, it's dealing on some topics, some of them very important for the region Lombardia, because Aria is the energy facility manager for all the buildings owned by the regional authorities. And Aria manages two important databases. The first one concerning the energy performance certifications of all buildings. And the second one is the regional registry for heating systems. And to manage this data is very important, because it's very helpful when it comes to design legislative acts, or to plan or to work on financial aids on specific topics. And one of the tasks of Aria is to support the regional energy planning. And finally, last but not least, Aria promotes and assists local authorities, small and medium enterprises, associations, parishes, and citizens in the development of energy communities, and not only energy communities. And here the point that I would like to stress is that there is that this task was entrusted to Aria by a law, and so this task is not a voluntary one, but is something that the legislator, the regional legislator, has written, and it's quite important, and probably a unique case in Italy. And so the legislator decided in February 2022 that to establish this team of professionals with the necessary skills in order to support the development of energy communities. So, as you see, we are at the core of a much more structured construction. And that's also very important, because that means that we work together with other professionals, other experts in different fields. And this cross-sectional work is very useful, because we can, in this way, have support from our colleagues on different topics, because we are 5 people. And as you know, energy communities are quite complicated, are not so easy. They don't. We cannot have a focus only on one topic. On a technical topic, we also have to deal with social, economics, juridical topics. So that's quite important to take in mind. So our activities are defined by the law, but we can also develop these activities in the more in the ways that we think are more useful for local authorities and for stakeholders. The first activity is to work on in the developing and of nets of institutional networks, and so we have local networks. So we are looking at the inside the region, and we have created a network with the provincial authorities, with municipalities, and with other stakeholders like ANCI Lombardia. ANCI is the Italian National Association of Local Authorities, and is organized regionally. And we have in our net, of course, we have some important national stakeholders like ENEA, GSA, that is the electrical system manager, and RENAEL is the national network of energy agency. And of course, it is very useful and very important to have this kind of network, because it is very helpful. We can join the technical meetings that are organized. We can share information. We can learn from our colleagues from other energy agency, and of course that's very important. And it's very important also on the local plan, on the local focus, because it is very important to make everyone know that we are there, and that we are helping. We are here to help in developing energy communities, and this task can be done with the help of other stakeholders and institutions. The other important activity is to be a partner of local authorities in establishing energy communities. And of course, we are trying to give answers to all the different questions coming from especially from local authorities, and trying to make available tools and models to help them establishing energy communities. And the other very important point is that we are kind of intermediate between the needs of local authorities and other public entities and the regional level. I think that is one of the very important tasks we have to fulfill. I mean, it's the region is not. It's a kind of. It's of course not so easy for the region to have a good knowledge of what is going on at the local level. And I think that our task is also to help the region in understanding which are the critical points, and what can be done to overcome difficulties and fulfill expectations. A very important topic is the funding and the financial. As you probably know, we have national schemes to support the development of RECs, but we have also we started also some regional financial schemes in order to make it possible for local authorities to overcome the initial investment that is necessary to do in order to start an energy community. Of course, it is very important to allocate the economical resources in the best way, and it is one of our tasks to give also suggestions to the region in order to find out how to allocate in the best way, in the more efficient way, the resources they can share with the local authorities and with the territory. Finally, the important task we have to fulfill is about promotion of energy communities. So we are also working on communication campaigns and other ways to try to disseminate all informations and all tools in order to help local authorities, to start the energy communities, to try to share information about financial possibilities and also to make it possible to create connections and links with other local authorities and with the stakeholders. Since there are so many local authorities in the region, as I said, more than 1,500, we are trying to work mostly with aggregators. So in each part of the region, we are selecting aggregators that could be public entities like provinces, but also private organizations like chambers of commerce, and try to support them when they are when they really have this role to start helping local authorities and enterprises and other subjects starting an energy community. So kind of support to the trainers, to the supporters, in order to be able to be efficient and to really try to involve the bigger number of entities. So we also produce some information materials, and we manage a web page in order to share information and to give news about what's going on, and be able also to be if there is a need, to be directly contacted by local authorities. We also go we also join initiatives organized by the local authorities, and that means public meetings or more technical laboratories or meetings. That's very helpful and keep us always very attuned with what is going on at the local level, on the problems, on the critical points, and I think that is really something that is appreciated by the stakeholders. Okay, that's my short presentation, and of course I'll be here for the next steps in order to support you or answer your questions.
Thanks a lot, Antonio. I think it was very useful, and I'm pretty sure that participants will have further questions for you to go more into details. Yeah. And now, after the regional level, I would like to give the floor to Cristobal Vila, that will showcase us what the Deputación of Avila, the province of Avila, is doing also on behalf of the LIFE-BECKON project. Please, Cristobal, the floor is yours.
I'm looking for my presentation here. Oh, yes. You see the presentation now?
Yes, very well. You can put in, yeah, exactly.
Okay, much better.
Yeah, okay, now it's in the presentation mode. Thank you.
Okay. Just, I guess some of you, things of what I'm going to say, most of you may know it, because of I'm referring to the LIFE-BECKON project. So, but other people attending this meeting today will get to know where Avila is located and the internal circumstances that Avila is involved in. Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce Carlos to some of you. Carlos is our new.
Hello, everyone.
Our new technical guy or technical person working for the project here in Avila. Okay. So you will hear of them more often from now on. Okay, so this is a brief description of Technical Assistant Office in Avila and the Avila province itself, how we're promoting and boosting the community energies, energy communities, and some other things, other territory agents and synergies, etc. Okay, so the Technical Assistant Office in Avila is integrated in the APEA. Okay, APEA is the Avila Provincial Energy Agency that has been promoting and supporting energy, renewable energies in the province for the last 25 years. And it depends on the Diputación de Avila. Okay? So I would say APEA, for you to understand, is like a body or a body that depends on the Diputación de Avila, but at the same time, APEA has its own tasks and activities, most of them dedicated to the renewable energies promotion and rural development. Okay. So, as a part of this project, of the LIFE project, APEA implemented a community, well, first of all, a community transformation office. So it doesn't have to do directly to the LIFE project, LIFE-BECKON, but it's partially financed by the government of Spain, the funds from the Next Generation funds. And this OTC complements the Technical Assistant Office activity because they work eventually, or sometimes they work together for the province of Avila. So we have a Technical Assistant Office that is part of the LIFE-BECKON, and at the same time, our Technical Assistant Office shares information and even some activities with OTC implemented in the province. Okay, OTC has been launched as well, like I said, by the Next Generation funds. And like I said, both offices join efforts to facilitate and promote the creation of energy communities within the province of Avila. Avila province, as a brief approach and presentation of a province environment, has 247 municipalities, and a very important number of them, I would say most of them, are small municipalities. So if some of you are familiar with the region of Castilla-León is a huge region in Spain. I'm not sure about the extension, but it could be the second one in extension in the country, and includes, I think, 8 provinces. Avila is not the biggest one, but it's quite big. And all this region, all the provinces used to have two or three big towns besides the capital of the province, and then quite a few villages, smaller or small ones. In this case, Avila is the capital of the province of Avila. And then there are, I think, 3 or 4 towns in the province, 2 or 3 towns, important towns, like with and dealing with rural development, but the rest of the towns and villages are quite small. So that means that the technical assistance office and our work in the project consists of part of it in traveling around the province, especially with those small villages, and teaching and showing and training municipalities to make them understand and eventually establish an energy community. When the goals of the technical assistance province in Avila, when the LIFE-BECKON project was launched, originally achievement was set up as identification and a status of some of them, because we had one project in development phase in the province when the project was launched, the LIFE-BECKON. Then use of documents and information for potential projects and locations, and for information to those in those seminars, workshops, etc. And now we are starting to use the one-stop shop, follow up new projects ideas or designs. We also are collecting public and sometimes private funds to inform those municipalities. They collect management approaches and results. I'm already in information from other projects that are happening now in Spain to create energy communities. Most of them are in the first phases, but some of them are already running. So, and then, of course, assisting questions, problems that now we are receiving from interested stakeholders and parties in the province. Then, basically, the services, the technical assistance office is engaged. It's training, courses, seminars, workshops. And when I say courses, seminars, and workshops, we're planning to. We have already workshops, seminars. In Avila town, in the offices here in that APEA, and actually we've gone to other locations, and some those small towns or villages, because these not so small villages have a lot of connections with smaller villages around. So that means that if you want a kind of bigger town in one area of a province, can help other smaller locations or villages to create or to join energy community. Then guidance promotion, where improvement stakeholder knowledge and other services. And now using again the one-stop shop. There are quite a few companies already calling to owners and developers calling about how the procedures and how the provinces is looking at the creation of energy communities. In fact, there are already two local, provincial companies that have become promoters and advise by means of answering questions directly, etc. So if we see there is a need, we go personally to those locations, municipalities. I would say at the end of this representation a list of what we have identified as stakeholders. So these are some examples of what we've already done. So different pictures and photos of presentations of a project in locations in the province. So here is our director and general manager for the APEA that some of you or most of you know already. And in fact, there have been some trips to external other provinces and regions to getting a deeper about that have already energy communities have already put on place and are running in the country. Those other things and events that we have participated in or organized. Solo Sancho is a location in the province. Santo Domingo Calzada 1. So we have find like a day about LIFE-BECKON. So we get in touch with the municipality, the mayor, or other officers, and we go there and spend the day, talking about this, some visits or etc. Those kind of actions. Almaraz is a location out of a province that there is one energy community. Those are more in detail how we get achievements. So, like I said before, attending type of assistance requests on demand from municipalities, local businesses, associations, and individuals. For instance, important to point out is to support implement new energy programs. We are actually creating and making algo. It's almost done. Skype now with a very use of the one-stop shop, widely disseminate that and publicize the LIFE-BECKON. So we are working hard in putting on the press and local television, local radio stations, what we're doing with the LIFE-BECKON. We are promoting the coordination between small municipalities and important actors who support and assistance the implementation of or the future implementation of energy communities. And there is another platform called Gestiona, which is a national, I guess, platform. Other agents that are collaborating with the Technical Assistance Office, with ONI Solar and associations. CEO is association and of local companies in the province. So CEO is a corporation of companies for Spain, an association that works to help out the companies in the country. But this big, huge association has another smaller ones. It's like a federation that has different provinces offices, and we collaborate, for instance, with COE and the civil society associations and so on. We are trying to get connections with other projects that the APEA is managing, that the Diputación Ávila has achieved these projects, and then APEA is managing those projects, and we are creating connections from those projects with the LIFE-BECKON. And that's it. Just for you to know, stakeholders we have identified right now are local development groups, local rural development groups, which are on the leader program, industrial sites, municipalities, industry companies, and cooperatives. Those are now identified as big and important stakeholders and more relevant stakeholders in the province.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Cristobal, for your presentation. It's really amazing to see how you are really close to those variety of small municipalities. You are really going to meet with them. You are connecting the dots also between different European projects, and you already established the energy community. So it's great also to see in the next months how it will speed up also the transition in your area. Thanks a lot.
Just a note at your comment. I would like to say that the local people and citizens like us to visit them and to talk to them directly. So this is a big effort we're doing to visit as many municipalities as possible.
Yeah, great. I think, and I also suggest that maybe we can further discuss about this topic also during the breakout.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
thanks again. And now I please ask you to stop sharing your screen so that Heik can present his slides showcasing what City of Copenhagen is doing as deployer of energy communities. Heik, the floor is yours, please. But we cannot hear you, at least me. I can properly see the screen. Maybe you have to change the microphone selected.
Hello?
Yeah, super. Working now.
Works?
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason
Great.
I have some
Great.
problems with the headset.
No problem.
Okay, but you hear me and see my screen, I hope?
Very well. Let's go.
Good. Yes, I would like to introduce some of the work that we are doing in Copenhagen, the city of Copenhagen, with local climate engagement, and also more specifically regarding energy communities, photovoltaics, and heating flexibility. First of all, I would shortly introduce the kind of political backdrop to this work. In 2009, the City Council of Copenhagen formed the vision that Copenhagen should be carbon neutral in 2025. And in 2012, they agreed on the climate plan, 2025 climate plan, putting down initiatives on how to achieve this goal, which is mainly through the three themes: energy consumption, energy production, and green mobility. Unfortunately, the goal of carbon neutrality in Copenhagen will not be achieved by 2025. The city is working on a new climate plan with even more ambitious goals for 2035, and the climate plan has opened up for some ambitious initiatives, a lot of them in Copenhagen. And many of these are presented in these roadmaps that you also see on the screen, chopping up the time frame of the climate plan, going into more specific initiatives. One of these initiatives try to work on the issue: how do we get the citizens on board on the green transition, and how do we strengthen local collaboration? And that initiative is called Climate Task Force, or in English, Climate Task Force. And the aim of the Climate Task Force is to promote the climate plan, the efforts from the Copenhagen Climate Plan, by linking the strategic efforts on a top-down level, on the city level, with concrete implementation at the local level. So it is about how to bind together the level from like the city council and the buildings that I am in right now, and then the real world and the citizens living out in it. So what is Climate Task Force more concretely? In the city of Copenhagen, we have 7 administrations, one of them being the technical and environmental administration, which I am in at. And we are, I think, 2,500 employees. We're divided into a lot of departments, many of which are working with climate in some sense, in some way. The Climate Task Force is an aim to increase collaboration and integration across these departments, not all departments, but some that are especially relevant for each other. One is the Climate Secretariat, the ones writing the big strategic plans, the climate plans, energy strategies for Copenhagen. Then we have a public housing department working specifically with the public housing mass in Copenhagen. We have the building renewal, where I am at, where we work with the privately owned building mass in Copenhagen and renewing that building mass. And then the integrated urban renewal, which is a district-based approach with decentral secretariats working in a restricted time period locally with urban renewal projects in disadvantaged areas. This collaboration is mainly structured through meetings, workshops. For example, we are working with the mobility department on clarifying what are the potentials for in Denmark due to the current regulation. What are the potentials for sharing renewable electricity from photovoltaics, from chargers on roofs to electrical cars? There has been some recent development in the regulation of that on that area. We are collaborating on development on information material across departments. And then maybe most interestingly, we have now local climate facilitators. They work in these integrated urban renewal areas. We have 5 of them at the moment, located around the city. These are chosen out of some different criteria related to socially deprived or a lower economic level indicators such as that. And these have now local climate facilitators working on promoting initiatives from the city level regarding climate to the local level, to citizens in these areas, to local networks, local structures, engaging with them and sharing how can they take part in the green transition. And one of the reasons is that grants are mainly found and used by stronger groups. We have in the municipality grants that can be used by citizens for building renewal, for example. But there is a large difference on the availability for citizens. So how can we, with a more outreaching approach, engage more Copenhageners? Yeah, and that is also the idea is that maybe the green transition should not only be hidden, not only be carried out from the top, but we think it's important that we also have a green transition through participation. Yes, and there are different strategies for doing this. One is that sometimes the agendas that we find interesting from a city level is not what is hot, what is interesting at the local level. We need to go out and figure out what is relevant. Garbage, for example, sourcing garbage is an agenda that is easy to approach for many citizens, and that they are interested in, and then we can use that as an entrance to discuss climate in a more broad sense and discuss energy topics, photovoltaics, energy optimization, stuff like that. I have a slide here more specifically regarding energy communities in Copenhagen and photovoltaics. Energy communities is a relatively new agenda in Denmark and Copenhagen, and due to the current regulation, or I don't know of any examples of energy communities that share electricity from photovoltaics across buildings, simply because due to the taxation and the pay that you need to pay to have your electricity transported through the common grid, it is not economically feasible, and you are not allowed to distribute your own electricity across buildings using your own wires. So that is a discussion. What can we do at this moment regarding sharing electricity? What is possible is to share electricity in one apartment, or in one building across apartments, as long as these are under the same roof, behind one electricity meter. This can be done. We still don't have that many examples of it in Copenhagen, but we are trying to push on that. So this being a new agenda, we need to strengthen the capacity in the cities to support citizens, setting up PVs, engaging in energy communities, which is why we also in this project work with capacity building. We have tried to develop what we call Energy Academy Copenhagen, which is a brand name that we use for capacity building, both at the city level, at what we call the meso level, meaning the local structures, existing networks out in the city, local councils, and then also citizens. So we work trying to strengthen capacity to both support citizens in energy communities, PVs projects, and then more directly to the local level, at the meso level and at the citizen level. What do we do more concretely regarding photovoltaics PVs? Copenhagen are not front runners on this agenda. The target for 2025 was that 3% of the electricity should be produced by photovoltaics, and we're actually not going to reach that goal. Originally, the goal was 1%. We did reach that some time back, but 3% we're not yet reaching. As I said before, few have implemented energy communities. We have behind the meter examples, potentially with a battery. And then we are trying to get more PV projects. We are working with sharing inspirational material, creating short videos, films with examples of successful PV projects in Copenhagen. We have a PV map that is kind of hidden behind the yellow picture on the slide, where Copenhageners can easily go to our website and search what are from some calculations, what are the potential for PVs on my roof. We have a grant paying 50% of for an advisor to screen your building for the potential for PVs. So we pay 50% of the advisor for the screening, trying to give like the first initiation to initiate more projects. And then we have a new outreaching approach from starting here next year, where we are trying to be even more out in the city, engaging with locals and relevant buildings to push and inspire to put up PVs on their roofs. I have one more slide saying that we work with PVs. That is a hot topic. It's easy, I think, for a lot of citizens to understand that is a part of the green transition. You can see it, it's on the roof, producing power. But there are some great potentials for optimizing your energy consumption by optimizing the heating system. We have a very well developed district heating system in Copenhagen, and by optimizing your heating cellar in the basement, the one extracting heat from the collective system to your apartment sending up heat into radiators in the apartment. These are rarely functioning effectively. So there's a large gain to invest in renovating heating cellars and optimizing heating cellars. And then we also have some projects looking at, can we use AI to optimize heat consumption in the existing building stock? Can we, through some control CTS systems centrally, not by us, but by a company called Varmelast, to ensure that they are functioning effectively? Can we evaluate the benefit of flexibility? So if we can close the heat consumption in some buildings at times where a lot of buildings are using heat, typically in the morning when we wake up, we would like it to be warm in our buildings, and it's very cold in Denmark, so there's a large need for that. Can we use heating flexibility, so some buildings heat up earlier and then work as batteries? Then there are some potential for peak shaving, so we don't have big peaks in the heat consumption. And then we have worked on different models for financing renovations of heating cellars. So these are some concrete initiatives that we are working on regarding heat, PV, and how we are trying to organize this work, engaging locally with citizens in Copenhagen. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. I was still thinking a lot of things when I saw the integration of AI, the artificial intelligence, with the optimization of those things. I think it's really, really interesting and inspiring. Of course, it's something really ambitious not to do. It's not for everybody, but it's great to see that capital cities like Copenhagen are also trying to do so. So great. I think that we can take like 5 minutes, a small break really, but only 5 minutes, so we can be everybody here. I don't know if meantime you already have something to ask to our speakers now, or maybe you can take now 5 minutes for this small break and also to think about questions, and then we will see here again at 3:11 to split in 2 groups, and then we can go more into details. So if you agree, let's meet here in 5 minutes. Okay? And questions on the specific topics that were showcased by the speakers, please ask any questions now. If you are already on the path of your energy community process, but in your region, cities, or in your area, you are struggling with something that can be, of course, not solved here because, no, but where you can really get insights on what other cities, authorities are doing, in which way, where they are leveraging, and so on.
Yeah, I can start if you like.
Yeah, please.
Thanks, Andrea. So yeah, I listened to the 3 examples, and very interesting, of course, to hear how the technical assistance is being provided. I'm interested in the use cases, and I'm also really interested in the tools. So I kind of thought we were going to hear about governance models for some reason. I think I misunderstood the title of the webinar about governance schemes. So what I'm interested in is how each of the examples actually advise on the right governance model to give an energy for an energy community, because each of these organizations are advising citizens and different stakeholders on how to set up energy communities, and we would be at that very early point as well. But determining the right governance model. So that's the question. It's like, how do you advise and determine what's the right governance model, or are you just selling a particular model?
Maybe I can already reply saying, okay, here we are talking about governance models, not for energy communities, but governance models for public authorities to help the deployment of energy communities. So that's why we are talking about technical assistance offices, no?
Yeah.
But you need a governance model, no, for those kind of offices. Then the governance model for energy communities is something different. But for example, of course, I will leave the floor to our speakers now if they wanna share something. But for example, I know there are several capacity building activities made both at the local level, but also the regional level, also involving universities. Those capacity building activities are targeting the local public in general, but of course also cooperatives, possible communities, and they really go into details, sharing which kind of governance models can be really successful to really run in the long term an energy community. Of course, this is not something that should be done at the European level, because when we talk about governance system models of energy communities, it is very country specific, because every country has its kind of transposition of the European legislation and so on, so it could be different. Of course, you can take the most important key components, no, for a successful governance model of an energy community, but then, of course, Eik, Antonio, Cristobal, I don't know if you have something to add, but Fiona, then I will shut up on this point. If you are interested to hear more about governance models of energy communities, this is something that we can prepare for the next month as another activity. So just maybe think about it, and just feel free to ask us by email so that we will keep track on that, and we can do something for sure.
Maybe I can add. In Denmark, as I said, we have so far, at least in Copenhagen, no examples of energy communities sharing electricity across buildings.
Yeah.
So what we have is single buildings sharing between apartments, and one of the ownership types of buildings that we have in Denmark is the one called cooperative housing, I think you would translate it into.
Yeah.
Where you you do not own your own apartment in the building, you own a share of the collective house.
We have that in Switzerland as well, yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
at least in Denmark, that organization can, as it already kind of sells the use of an apartment, that can quite easily also sell electricity to the grid. So that is kind of an existing ownership structure that you can kind of tap into when sharing electricity. So when targeting relevant buildings for setting up PVs, we especially address that cooperative housing, because those are the ones that have an established ownership model that you can quite easily tap into, and they have an organization, a board, some processes that then you can build upon. So that is at the moment, yes, how we work.
I can also add up here that in Spain there is a organization included in the Ministry of Industry and the other ministry that deals with renewable energy, which is the MITECO, Ministry of Ecological Transition and so on. that so there is a institution, public institution called IDAE, IDAE, that deals with funds from European Union and next generations, such as the US, exactly, etc. I mean, and those funds, some of them deals with funding the Office for Transition, Communitary Transition, which is kind of TAO. Actually, the TEO here, like I said in my presentation, is very well connected to this technical office for community transition. So what I mean is that some of the technical assistant office, at least in Avila, comes from or get efforts together office promoted by the government of Spain. But this is kind of complicated, but all comes from a European fund. And this that I mentioned before deals with other regional energy bodies that also uses those funds, body called ERENG. So the TAO in this project follows or works together with that office created with funds from European Union as well. So it's kind of collaboration between them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I made it clear or I got you more confused.
No, we probably have a different understanding of what governance models means, but it's okay. Let's move on.
No. Just we here in Spain we follow all the lines that comes from European Union in terms of creating offices in the rural areas to help promoting energy communities, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. And each of the region has its own funds, but there is no specific way of governments here in this specific technical assistant office, rather than training, guidance, and promotion and advice. And it's under the umbrella of a project, the LIFE-BECKON, and he has now Carlos, that is with me here, that is managing the technical assistant office and planning and all the activities that I mentioned before to deal with energy communities in the province. That's what I can
Okay,
add.
thank you. Thank you very much.
If I may add something about governance models, I mean, I think that we have here in this room an interesting model. I mean, we have this regional level, the province level, and the city level. And it is true in some ways, if you listen to the different instruments and so on, you have the feeling that we all are talking to the citizens, but actually there are different levels, and what we can do at the regional level, maybe it is not possible to be done at the city level, and the opposite side too. I mean, we at the regional level, we have the possibility to work as a link between the regional legislator, so someone that is that produce laws, rules, and the local level, the citizens. So we have the possibility to listen to the citizens and to the local authorities and to transfer this information to the legislator in order to provide a better ways to prepare rules and so on. And the regional legislator normally has huge amounts of money to allocate. And that's important. I mean, and the ways the regional legislator will allocate this money is very, very, very important. So we are there also to suggest how to allocate this money in the best way in order to develop RECs, to develop energy communities. And I think that we need all the levels, the regional, the provincial, and as a TAO, I mean, as a technical assistance, we need technical assistance at the regional level that could be very helpful at the provincial level, because sometimes it is nice to have someone representing the region at the provincial level, also because, also for the reason I said before, region provides money and provides rules. So if you have at your desk with your provincial stakeholders, the region, that could be very helpful. But then you need also, of course, the city level, and the city level, the target of the city level are the citizens directly. So I can also speak to the citizens, but who is really who is really in charge to speak to the citizens is I think the city level, because he knows better their needs, their needs, and so on. So I think that there is a kind of model that should have been built on these three levels, and possibly making clear what the targets are for each level, and what every level should do, because some level can do things better than the other because they have a different expertise and relationships and so on.
Thanks, Antonio, for adding. And yeah, I also agree that the what usually we call multi-level governance, it's really an effective approach, let's say, to really translate the legislative part. As you said, the regional level is the one that is really making rules, no, to the implementation on the ground. That this is crucial. And coming back also to the topic raised by Fiona, so the governance model, not of the technical assistance offices, but of the energy communities. I think also this multi-level governance at the administrative level is crucial also to arrive, first of all, to a common understanding in your area of what possibilities of governance models you have for your energy communities according to the law, also to the regional law, to the regional funding program, because as you said something really important before, Antonio, the regions is really the place where the European funding is, no, the so-called European Regional Development Funding Program, no, ERDF. And in this way, when you have a well-established multi-level governance approach, no, so really involving the region, the county, or the province, and the cities, municipalities, you can really then try to really address those funding, no, in the proper line. So both from the capacity building, but also from the implementation for financing, renovation projects, and so on. And then there are different governance models where maybe the cities is involved as well with a certain percentage, no, in the cooperative. As Heik said before, there are other cooperatives, and so on. In the next webinar, Fiona, we will talk about business models for energy communities, and then maybe also there could be in the open discussion, I'm pretty sure that business models are of course related with the governance models, but we will think internally how we can propose this additional activity on the governance models. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Or Roland, please.
Yes, yes, we will talk about in the next lesson. But there's a question. How much really successfully established energy communities do you have in your countries? I haven't heard of any, actually. We are talking about the TAO, and that's really important. But as we know, when you will establish those new things, you need 3-4 very enthusiastic people. How do you find them? How do you promote them? And actually, where does the money come from for the projects? And they are not just meeting to talk. They want to do something, and they need money to build new PV things. All those things. And how do you identify those projects? The really hard facts. What about this?
So if I may start from some of the many questions. Thank you, Roland, for your questions. But okay, first of all, concerning Italy, I must say that everything's more or less started not. I mean, in April, so not really years ago, but just a few months ago. So because we have been very slow in adapting the European rules and very slow in transferring them in national laws. And so far, there is no public number about the energy communities created in the last month. We have numbers about energy communities that have been created before the law was fully implemented. The new law was fully implemented, and the number was about less than 100, 100. And what is important to know about Italy is that concerning grants and so on, is that we have national and regional programs that are delivering money for the establishment of energy communities. So we have a national program, and that is one of the reasons we have been so slow in implementing the law, because we had to have the green light from the European Union in order to use this money for this scope, for this idea. And it is possible to get funded 40% of the investment for a new plant, for a new PV plant. Yeah, to build a new one. So 40% is quite a good help in order to start your community. And moreover, we have an incentive tariff, and that's about between 80 and 140 euro per megawatt hour for the energy that is shared between members of a energy community. So you have a capital incentive in order to help you setting up the energy community, and you have a tariff for 20 years for all the energy that you are sharing between the members of your energy community. So in order so if I compare this with other places like probably Germany or Denmark, where you have to pay for sharing energy and then you don't start any energy community, I think that in Italy we have a very good opportunity to have a big number of energy communities. The problem is that there are many barriers. It's not so easy to understand how to start an energy community. Of course, you need legal entities, and which legal entity should you start is not so clear. And so you have really many last but not least, you get money, but still you have to invest the rest of this money you need to start your plant, your PV plant. So That's the reason it's very helpful to have a technical assistance for local authorities, because you really have to find the right solutions to all the problems. But the potential is there, and I really think that we are starting slow, but as soon as we will have enough good best cases, best practices, then it will spread very, very, very quickly. We need models. We need really to have the forerunners showing the way in order to make the mistakes, overcome the challenges, and then teach to the other the right way. So it will come.
Yeah, I'm just going to share in the chat with you a video that has a link to the game that the Joint Research Centre in ISPRA developed about energy communities. You might be familiar with it, but we're helping them to test this game at the moment. So I'll put that in the chat. I think this type of approach is useful to try to help citizens and people to understand the economics around energy communities, because it's quite complex, as you say.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Fiona. That will be helpful. I don't know, Roland, if all your questions are more or less addressed or not. If there is still some open pending issue.
No, no, Germany is even slower. I think in those ways we are at the end. We even haven't covered the European law here in Germany, so there are no rules who can establish energy communities. It's nearly unimportant. Unimportant. Not possible to establish those communities. So we have to find ways around it. So it's, with all those best practice things, as Antonio just said, it would be very helpful to show the local municipalities to how it can work. So we can go on a lower level and to try to develop those things and to establish communities, because we know a lot of people who want to share energy and other living in an easier way, and not to wait for the German laws to cover it. So would be very helpful to have those examples and to show
that directly from energy communities. Yep. Okay.
I mean, I agree. The use cases are absolutely key. Simple use cases that will inspire people to continue with their ideas. So, yeah, for us, that's very useful as well.
Yeah, we will do that, and I can ensure you on that, as we already started to select which are those best examples that we can really showcase from the energy community point of view. And yeah, this is something that we will do in the next months for sure.
If I can add something here,
please.
Our experience here and my own experience years ago, all the for establishing energy communities in Spain had all of them have come from private promoters, except this specific project that we are now involved in, the LIFE-BECKON. So as long as I know, maybe I'm talking myself right now, and my knowledge, as far as I know, LIFE-BECKON and Avila is launching a new way of promoting energy communities, helping, in fact, other private promotions and private tries that have happened in the past. Since the regulation in Spain is just based on European Union, there's not yet a national regulation. And for instance, so those technical assistant offices, for so far that I know, have come out in the last 2 years. So let's say that before that, the technical assistant offices were municipalities or other private, councils that wanted to launch the energy communities. And all of a sudden, a lot of promoters came into the play, into the game. So in 2 years, there are so many companies in Spain trying to promote energy communities. But I have to say that private promoters are doing in Spain a lot of effort themselves to establish energy communities, but it's not being easy. So this is what I can say about what so-called technical assistant office, about the energy communities governance, following Andrea advice. I see that could be for another meeting, because in case of Spain, I know, and we know here, many ways of doing it, from private monies, private funds, together with public funds, municipalities involved in different levels, etc. So it's not clear, but there are a lot of, at least in Spain, we've learned that there are a lot of, people trying to get involved in.
Thank you, Cristobal. And Ricardo, please.
It's not so much of a question, but some thoughts on the topic, I guess. First of all, Fiona hasn't shared the link yet, or at least we can see it, just to let you know. And I think it's interesting to see the multi-level approach, but on the other hand, I feel that there's a lot of differences between the countries in the European Union, and it's kind of difficult approach to listen to different countries, as Spain and Italy, for example, who are in this case a lot farther ahead of the road, and we are more in the case of Ike, for example, in Denmark, that we can actually do in-house energy sharing, but we cannot use the local grid or even farther. So the business cases that we would like to see are very much dependent on the regulation and on organizational and entrepreneurship cultures that are governing the different countries we are in. And we are not as similar as we might wish to be. So I wonder, what can we do, and at what point are we in the procedure of adapting the EU regulation? So in Germany, there has been the first, how do you say that? There's a paper came out from the ministry like a few days ago with the first outlines of how regulation could be. And it's commented now by different organizations. And it will take, I think the rules established will be in the 2026, probably. Obviously,
the consultation process.
Yeah, no. The start of the consultation process is now, but when the rules will apply, there will be 2026. So we still have a lot of way to go and to cover, and so it's kind of difficult to I mean, it's interesting to share ideas, and maybe it would be interesting that we can use these ideas and shape the political procedure. But then it would be a kind of different goal. So we would not try to do it in our community so much as trying to be more of a lobby in order to put the ideas working in other countries into our national regulation. This if this is an objective that we have, then we should adapt the course in order to try to do this in some way or the other. But if we try to implement other people's, I mean, as I mentioned, they don't have best practices yet, and we in Germany, we have maybe very few best practices, but they are very much they're not organic. They are very forced into being. Like, it's not like anything that would scale in any way. So I try to figure out all that. Today I tried for 2 hours to figure out the business cases, and there might be some, but it's really so much dependent on the regulation that it's like playing poker. You don't really know what's going to happen. And
yeah, I agree with you, Ricardo. From a personal point of view, I think, okay, no matter when the law will be transposed at the national level, could be in 2 years or in 3 years, but I think that it's clear that an integrated structure, not at the city level or county level or regional level, or the better, a multi-level governance structure already established will really be helpful and supporting for you once the law will be already transposed. No, and then, as Roland said before, I will not say in the Italian way, but maybe there are some like creative way, to do, okay, not calling them energy communities, but maybe there is a way to do such kind of processes on behalf of cooperatives and so on. Then of course it's complicated, because sometimes when you are involving also vulnerable people, they are already getting supporting money, I mean, from the state, because they are in a poor condition. Then, for example, in Italy, there is this overlapping when once you get money, from example, from an energy community, then you are not allowed anymore to get money because you are a single mother, for example. No, so there are also those overlapping that should be clarified. So far, communities are still coping with these unclear rules, these open points, but then they should be solved. And as you said, the other face of the coin is that if you look over you, so those insights and those experience on the ground can be very helpful for the national level, no, for the transposition, not really try to arrive to a national legislation that can be really applied on the ground and can be really useful for citizens, but also for cities and regions. So many thanks for your comment. I totally agree with you. But really, for me, it's important. We still have to build awareness, no, on behalf of us. Just think how was understood in a different way, the terms of governance schemes for public authorities. No, so what does it mean? Technical assistance offices for cities, or the governance model for an energy community, where sometimes also the city is part of the membership as well, no? Or maybe some buildings where the PV plants, for example, are installed, part of those buildings are private and part are public. Those things, are really need to be tackled at the national, but also at the regional level, especially in countries like in Germany, where those are federal administration, no? So yeah, there are still many open points, but in a certain way, we are front runner, no? Because we are sitting here on a table talking about a new topic.
Yes, sorry, I just I mentioned it because I thought it actually, the positive part of the coin is that we can use the experiences for the transposition, as you said as well. So it would be really interesting to have these experiences in some systematic way, if they're in the process of the LIFE-BECKON project or something, or in other partner projects. There's some kind of this experience making and evaluating. Then it would be really nice to have it and to shape to try to shape the national legislation with that. Thank you.
Sure, we will set something really scheduled properly to update you on what's happening. Yeah. Luigi wrote in the chat. I don't know if Luigi is here. You can.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Ciao, Luigi. Hi, Luigi.
Hi. Good afternoon to everyone. Well, in reality, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, my connection is a bit bad, so I hope it will stay on enough. Well, the first thing that I want to say, and starting from what Ricardo was saying, is that this process is very much a bottom-up process. So it's a process that starts from people going towards up. So all the issues that he raised are true, but energy community is just what is supposed to be to answer those. So you have to pilot, you have to chance, you have to see what others are doing, try to test, because piloting is always allowed, even if the regulation is not there. I mean, you can still discuss and debate on the potential, maybe because you do a small project, which you could find some funding even at the local level to do it. But it's very much a bottom-up process. And in that way, you show also the way to all those that are making regulation at regional level, national level. So I think that's supposed not to be a reason to stop. I mean, I'm collaborating with a parish in a small town in the south of Italy, and despite the fact, as Antonio was saying before, that the regulation has only come up a few months ago, I mean, we have started trying to start up with an energy community, which is which has only social dimension. So let's try to use the resources to facilitate and alleviate energy poverty. But that's because as it is now, there's not enough reason to set up an energy community for anyone, because the incentive is there, but it's not good enough to bring a lot of people together. Maybe if there are less people, will be more interested in making more people join. So the idea was, let's start with the things that may work and everybody will be happy with, and see what happens. But if you never start, I mean, you will never know. So you have to push a bit forward your let's say your game. Even if you wait for legislation, maybe it would be too late in a sense. Thanks.
And can I ask, what's the
Thanks,
main
Luigi.
driver of that parish actually starting an energy community? I mean, are people wanting to start an energy community because they want to participate in the energy transition, or are they participating because they want to make money? Or what do you find is the reason, the why behind it?
You scared Luigi now.
Sorry, I lost the connection for a period. I don't know if Fiona was speaking to me.
Yeah, I wanted to know why this parish in the south of Italy want to create an energy community. Is it because they want to save money, or is it because they want to participate in the energy transition, or relieve poverty, or what's the reason? We want to know.
Well, in reality, the aim is the first and the third that you mentioned. I mean, in their objective, alleviating poverty is something that are supposed to support in a way. But of course, they can do it only if they reduce their cost. So otherwise, the money that they use for paying energy will not be used for social dimension. So reducing cost is a way to free money to use for more social support. So you do two things, but the aim is still the same. So they're reducing the cost at the end of the day when the plant will be ready in they are starting setting the plant on next week. So let's say in less than 1 month, it should be operating, or let's say 2 months, because we are in Italy. And then from that moment, every month the parish will reduce energy costs, but that money they decide to allocate for more social support, so not for use for other things. So that's the way I think your game is played, and everybody gain in a sense.
Thanks, Luigi, for sharing. Are there any other questions, comments? We are running into the last 5 minutes of the webinar. Otherwise, if you have not
So I just wanted to let everybody know about an event that we're running in Romania on energy communities. It's part of the Open Living Lab Day conferences, because our approach to developing all of this is through Living Labs. So it's really bottom up as well. And I'll put the link into the chat as well.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Okay, great. So thanks again to all of you for being here. And yeah, as I said before, the next activity for our program will be end of October, Tuesday 29 to 4 p.m. And this will be a workshop where we will talk about the business models for energy communities. So really, we will show practical examples of energy communities established with which kind of business model. Meantime, should you have any comment for us, any feedback, any suggestions, please contact us. You have our Beckon Climate Alliance email, or you have also my email, Edgar email. Feel free to contact us. And yeah, thank you all again. Thank you, Cristobal, Eik, Antonio, for participating, for showcasing your experiences. Thank to all replicators participating today. I will share the recording and the presentation with all of you and with all the other replicators that could not attend. Thanks again, and see you soon. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Same.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.